Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am coming to you guys with a pros and cons to living in an NYC studio apartment. So if you haven't already checked out my apartment tour here in NYC, definitely check it out. I will link it down below as well as somewhere here on the screen. I have an empty apartment tour as well as a furnished one, so definitely check those out so you can see how my entire apartment is situated and whatnot. But I just want to share how it's been basically living here for a little over a year now. I moved in here in February of last year, I think February 5th, so it's been just a little bit over a year. But it's been a challenge, but also pretty exciting. I got to have a new experience, especially living on my own for the first time. It was really a challenge, but also a great experience. So I kind of just want to share my pros and cons of living in a studio apartment because it can be challenging, but you can also make it work if it is for you. So I'm first going to start with the cons because it's always good to end on a lighter note and a happier note. So my first thing would have to be is smells. Yes, smells. So the thing about living in a studio is that if you're cooking something in your kitchen, you're probably gonna smell it in your bedroom because you technically don't have anything to separate your bedroom from your kitchen. So if you're making freaking curry or something, you're gonna smell it in your bedroom when you're going to sleep. If you have shrimp that you throw away in your garbage, you're probably gonna smell that in your room. So that's kind of like the negative about it, is because it's such a small space that the smells will keep on rotating. One thing I will say, which will kind of be like a pro about that, is that it doesn't really get on your clothes. I don't think that I smell like anything in my house. If there's a bad smell, I don't think it sticks to any of my clothes or anything. It doesn't get that crazy. And also, let's say you want to light a candle or something in your kitchen, it's going to go to your bedroom anyways. So that's a pro. You don't have to worry about lighting a million candles in your bedroom, your bathroom, wherever. You're going to smell that thing everywhere. The next con would have to be storage space. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a studio that has a ton of storage space, I wish I were you because I barely have any. I do just have one closet, but the good thing is that in my kitchen I have tons of cabinet space. So I kind of utilized those cabinets for random stuff like Christmas decorations and other decorations for different holidays, as well as like random tools and stuff that I need for my apartment. So that kind of helps. But other than that, it's not much storage here because you're kind of in one area. Now my apartment is actually an L-shaped studio, so it does have a separate area for the bedroom, but once again in that bedroom area there's no closet or anything, so I kind of just have like a clothing rack, and also I'm able to utilize under my bed for some under the bed storage, which is mainly just the 1,000,001 clothes that I have. Going along with storage space, I would have to say another con would have to be the size, of course. Majority of all studio apartments are going to be very small. Not just that, like I said, your bedroom, which is right next to me, is basically in the living room. So of course I have this curtain to separate it, but once again, some spaces aren't an L shape like mine. It might just be one big square room. So it's kind of hard to utilize your space, especially when you have gatherings. I think the most people that I've had over was probably about 4 people, I believe, maybe 4 or 5 people, which when you're thinking about like having parties and stuff, that's not anything compared to that. So the good thing about me is that I don't really throw parties. I'm not really having large gatherings ever. So it kind of works out for me. I mean, that might change if I do move to a bigger apartment. But as of right now, especially with COVID and everything, that's when I got this apartment. I knew there wasn't going to be any gatherings anyways, so that's why I felt okay living in this space, knowing that I can have a couple people over, but that's usually my gathering group anyways. I'm not really one to have big parties, but if that's for you, that might not be something that you would want. You would probably want a bigger space, but for me, that works just fine. I think my last con is going to be noise. Now, because I do live in NYC, there's gonna be a lot of noise. You're gonna hear cars honking like every other apartment, whether it's a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom studio, whatever. You're always gonna hear a lot of noise depending on which area you live. But if you're in the 5 boroughs, you're most likely gonna hear that. And I am in one of the 5 boroughs. And I also happen to live right next to a train. So I'm always gonna hear that every night, but of course that could be like any other apartment. But living in a studio apartment within the apartment complex, I hear a lot of noises. So if I'm in my bedroom trying to go to sleep, I can hear my next door neighbor coming into her apartment. I can hear everything she's saying, and she's on the phone, whatever. Not when she's in her apartment, but just like in the hallway and stuff. Sometimes I do hear her in her apartment. I'm kind of scared that she might hear me, but I don't really hear. It's whatever. But it's just because it's such an open space that you're gonna get a lot of that noise coming in. So it's not like you have a bedroom that you can close off and be fine and, you know, escape from that noise. It's gonna be traveling everywhere. So that would be a con, but because I've always lived recently like next to a train station, I've gotten used to it. As well as living in New York, I've gotten used to the loud noises and everything. So for me, that is kind of okay. For you, it might not be. It's all up to your preference. Now let's move on to the pros. I have quite some valid pros for myself, and one of them would be is affordability. Basically, living in New York, if you don't know, well, now you know, it is very, very expensive. So for me, I was looking for a bunch of like 1-bedrooms, but I'm like, it's very expensive for living here. And somewhere like where I used to live in Delaware, a 1-bedroom, I don't know, might be maybe like $900 or whatever. Here you could find 1-bedrooms for like almost $2,000 sometimes, which is insane. Yes, the studio apartment kind of does cost a lot. It probably costs double than some of the 1-bedrooms or 2-bedrooms in another city like that, but I think for the price range in New York City, I kind of got a deal with this. And I also did get a deal during COVID for this apartment. I don't know what's gonna happen in August when my lease does end, but we will see. But that was one of my perks of living here, is that you're getting basically the amount that you want to pay for a smaller space. It's basically transparent right there. The more bedrooms you get, the more expensive it's going to be. For me, I thought that this would be perfect for me. It's just me living here, so I thought I could make it work, which I did. And it also helped me to save a little bit more, so if I do want to move to a bigger space, at least I was able to save some money during that time living here. Going back to having such a small space also means that it's going to be more cozy. I feel like I love the size of my space because of the coziness, especially during like Christmas time and stuff. I really liked how cozy I felt in here, because sometimes big open spaces make me feel like it's too much for me. Like, I don't know how I would feel really having a large living room, a large bedroom, all of that. Of course it would be great, but I do like this like cozy feeling that like your bed is right there, your couch is right there, you can jump from either or to take a nap. If I'm laying on my bed, I can see my freaking TV. That's amazing. I don't have to worry about having 2 TVs. It's like, I don't know, I just like the coziness of it. Especially the same thing, like the smells of like lighting a candle. You can smell it throughout the entire apartment, and I think that's just like really nice. But yeah, once again, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But for me, I love that cozy feeling and having a view of the city and whatnot. But I think that's one of my biggest perks about living here. I just love the comfortability of it. Another pro, which might not apply to a lot of people, is once again the shape of my studio. So I do have an L shape, which, like I said, the bedroom is separate from the living room, which also means that I do have more of a better layout of my apartment. So I do have almost a full-size kitchen. Like I said, I do have a lot of cabinets and whatnot. I have a separate bathroom, which is pretty spacious itself. If you did see my apartment tour, you will see all of that. But I just like the way this is shaped better, so I can still like divide the bedroom. It's basically like I have a bedroom just without a wall. So I liked how it's situated like that, whereas some studios that I was looking through, it was just one big square, and I don't really know how I can really design it and figure out my furniture and whatnot. So I really like the way that this one was shaped. Yes, it's still small. My wall is right here, my bed is right here, but it still works just fine for me. The last pro for me would have to be that it's very easy to clean my apartment. Now, I am someone that many people might know about me is that I am pretty messy. So I get very messy throughout every single day. One day I'll clean, the next day it will be a mess, because that's just naturally how I am. But the one thing about living in this apartment has taught me that it is so much easier for me to clean and be motivated to clean, because it is such a small space that if it gets messy really fast, it's gonna create a giant mess. So if you have like a couple clothes on the floor, it's gonna feel like the entire place is messy. So it'll make me feel like I want to clean every single day, which also helps. But also because it's smaller, it's easier for me to clean because I don't have so many rooms to clean. It's basically like one big room that I have to clean and then I'm done. So that is really a big pro for me because I hate cleaning. Of course, living here, I enjoyed it a lot because it's so easy to clean. But if it was anywhere else, I don't think I would have enjoyed it at all. But yeah, that's one thing I have to say. One of my top perks about living here in the studio like this is the cleanliness and keeping it up every single day. At least I try to. So guys, that is my pros and cons of living in a studio apartment, specifically in New York City. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do have any more questions about my New York City apartment, my New York studio apartment, please let me know down below. I would gladly answer them in the comments or either in another video. But yeah, hopefully this gave you some insight in what it's like to live in a studio apartment, if that's something for you. If not, then now you know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will definitely see you guys in the next one. Bye.